Welcome back to Watching the Throne on the Late Night Chat Network, episode 83. It's okay, Jay. You'll be able to hear that music again in a couple weeks when we do the new episode.
I hope
I'm
they come out
expecting
with
an
a new
interpretive
song.
dance.
You imagine Jay's like,
Well, I mean, it's been 83 episodes. Like,
Well,
I'm
listen,
expecting it.
we've seen how the they dance in this season, House of the Dragon, where they're like, wherever they're doing their fucking dance. Come on, we gotta muster up some excitement for this one. I think we're all like low energy on that last episode, guys. So
Yeah, no, that lasted. Oh,
it was boring. That's what I said. It was. You were right. You were right. You called it right out the gate. But that's not the case here, though, guys. We made it. This is their last episode and catching up on all the current Game of Thrones episodes out there here on Watching the Throne. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hopefully, you've been checking these shows out. If not, you go back and check out the playlist. 83 episodes here, and we are going to be talking about the new season when it does come out. I'm going to tell you about that in a moment, but first, let me reintroduce myself here. We got I'm Nico, aka Maester Stats, here in the house, and of course, I'm joined here today by my co-host. As always, we got JT, aka Damon, over there, and of course, Christina, who has the best name around here, Vagar's Snack. What's going on? What's going on, guys?
not much. I'm really excited. We're here.
Yep.
83 episodes. It's wild that
Dude,
you guys.
I did it all.
It's wild that you guys did 83 episodes. I maybe have done like, I don't know, 17, but like.
No, I was able to say you've done now the last 16 you've been on with us, and then you're in the 20s,
a few. Yeah, I did do
20s. You're probably 20, closer to 30 at this point. You've done probably almost a third of the episodes with us at this point. So yeah, so kudos to you as well.
No,
Like I said, you're the third.
83 episodes, guys. It's impressive.
We did it.
Thought you could put up with us.
Yeah,
Love you guys.
we did it.
I know, it's so cool.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been just over a year since we started this journey of recapping episode by episode of Game of Thrones. We concluded Game of Thrones a few months ago, and now we are now finishing House of the Dragon. And as I mentioned, we are getting ready for the new season of House of the Dragon that's going to be airing on June 16th. Actually, at the time that this show airs, if you do watch this episode before it comes out, it'll be June 13th. Will be 3 days away before the new episode. And guys, we're going to be doing an episode every week, a couple of days after these episodes premiere for the new season of season 2 House of the Dragon. It's going to be a little bit of a different format. We're not going to have these synopsises that we got to go through that we're going to be doing deep dives on. We'll see what information we can gather, or if we're all just going to come back together and comment on it on the fly. I'm going to try to write down some notes of moments that happened during the episode. I think that's kind of the approach we're going to be taking. But yeah, we're gonna gather the small council of Game of Thrones fans for those episodes, so make sure to check those out, guys. Christina, I'm sure, will be joining us as she has for the last little bit. She's been on the entirety of House of the Dragon, as well as the whole last season of Game of Thrones. You came on to talk about with us, so make sure to check that out. So yeah, great stuff. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you to everybody who's been checking these out, and we're gonna continue doing
it all, bro. I got a week where I can catch up on some of my old shows that I haven't been watching, and that's about it. We get to start the new recordings.
Don't let anybody tell you both that you're not committed.
Oh, I'm fucking committed to television, man.
When
it comes to
that. Thank God for you joining us though for this last stretch, because like for a while there, Jay was getting a little out of control in terms of the scheduling. Like I had to drag him on these episodes. Trust me, guys. Like it's its own task sometimes. Like it's hard to get.
I have so many other things to watch, and then I fucking wait till the last second.
Bro, you love talking about.
I did a lot of writing. I did a lot of writing in the beginning until I figured out how to use a printer. Okay, now I did a lot of fucking writing.
No one told you to do that because I've told you how you did it from fucking day
It
one.
only took him 76
I
episodes
know.
to figure out how to use a printer.
I couldn't figure out Microsoft. I'm sorry, okay, Word or 365 or whatever the hell you
look at
want
all
to
the
call
things.
it. I couldn't figure it out.
All the things you've learned since you started this podcasting stuff. Hey, look at you.
Look, just Game of Thrones alone.
Open up
fuck.
your
I can-
own, like,
Hey, whoever says I don't write, I have fucking diaries of Game of Thrones. If they go back and find this one day at the end of the world, they're gonna think this is how the world was in my writing and explaining Game of Thrones.
They're gonna think that it's the notes of a madman. They're like, "What the fuck is this shit? Who is this guy talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, is the Game of Thrones? Is it that book that never finished?"
Oh yeah, or it never started.
George R. Martin will be dead by then. He'll never have finished it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oh,
Anyways, yeah, so we're on episode 83 of Watching the Thrones, Watching the Throne, not Thrones, Jay. Watch out, I almost slipped up there. And if you guys want to see our Game of Thrones coverage and see us on the video here with Christina and some other guests that we've had on in the past, so thank you to everybody that's joined us. Make sure to check out the playlist. And it was actually Jay's first time watching Game of Thrones. He had watched this show first a couple of years ago when it aired, and that got him interested to go back and watch Game of Thrones. So since we do the podcast stuff here, I said, hey, what the hell? Maybe we'll go through and kind of do one of these shows that people kind of analyze these shows that everyone loves episode by episode. And we did it. We're at the end of the road here. And looking forward to
I couldn't believe the cult following too, man. And like that, like Nico said, it was so true. And then I watched it, and I could understand now why for so many people why it's such a love and
absolutely. I don't even consider myself a super fan. Like, I'm happy to go and discuss the show with you guys here. And yeah, Christina definitely out of the three of us, but I think like even in general, like I'm not. I'm not
play the game.
I mean, listen, I'm a fan of it, but I never had rewatched the show at all till he did this show, right? So I mean, it's been a lot of fun to kind of revisit it in that sense too, right? So I've now watched both these shows twice through their entirety, right? So yeah.
Well, no, I only watched Game of Thrones once. Sorry.
Yeah.
I might have watched a couple episodes twice, to be honest, but that's about it. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely check out the new episodes of the new season, guys. I think that'll be interesting just because, like I said, it's going to be a little bit different type of discussion being had. We're all going to be experiencing it live, like in the moment. Yeah. So that'll actually be interesting because
level the playing field here.
Yeah. We're all going to be kind of, and I want to hear some theories out of you over there, Jay. Like that was the worst. Like you wouldn't theorize anything for us when you're doing Game of Thrones for the first time.
Oh, I wonder about the tree. What happens with the tree?
Well, that was when I wanted to know about the fucking tree. Leave me alone, man. I have the thing for the fucking
but
Godwood tree.
Guessing some of the stuff that's going to happen is half the fun, though, about the show, right? So, like, in the conversation that
I've learned, you can't guess in this fucking show, man.
Well,
you can't do anything. You just gotta grow. You go with it. It's like getting high for the first time. Just go with it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because like this show obviously is based off of a story or a book. So like people already kind of know how it ends. And like we kind of know how it ends. But like I think I mentioned it in like 2 episodes ago that I heard or I read somewhere that they're gonna be maybe fudging how things end, like in the end, to make it like a little interesting for people so it's not so predictable.
This show, the House of the Dragon. Okay. Yeah.
So that'll be fun to like watch.
Yeah, because as we know, I think there's 3 confirmed seasons at this time. So like,
yeah, I think that's what you said.
Yeah. So I think that this is the 8 episodes this second season coming out, and then
I'm pretty sure after this season they're gonna make sure like this is a breaking season for them. I would think that this new season coming up is gonna be one of those make or breaks to see if they keep getting extensions.
Not only that,
a year at a time.
Not only that, I think once this season's done, based on how this season goes, there's going to be another spinoff, which they've already been talking about for some time, but that's yet to be confirmed. I just think like it's pretty wild that we live in a time where there's like I feel like 5 Walking Dead shows going on right now, and there's only one Game of Thrones
more
show.
Than that, bro.
Well, that's what I mean. That's fucking ridiculous. Like it's kind of crazy to me. because the Game of Thrones and then the Boys. Look at the Boys. There's already 2 fucking shows for the Boys. There's a spinoff of the Boys, and there's the Boys. We're seeing all these other properties that have nowhere near the same fan base, I feel like, as Game of Thrones, and yet we got one fucking show at a time over here. Come on, get a couple on the go, make it interesting for us, even to do these shows, right? Yeah, I know. You know what I mean? So like, because
directors, different writers,
Yeah, I think so. I think they need to do it now. Maybe they're more afraid that would ruin things. Maybe that would ruin.
No, I think it's all money. It has to do with money, because it's like a show like Game of Thrones, is gonna the actors themselves, they're gonna want money. And it's like, no offense to like The Walking Dead or The Boys or any of the shows you mentioned, like it's not like, because it doesn't have the same fan base, in my opinion. Like, I think the actors aren't going to settle for.
But that's why it's kind of smart to do spin-offs, because it sends people, like The Walking Dead is sending different people in different directions, so they're not paying all for that one series at one point. You get what I'm saying? Like all the big actors from the original, and it's so
yeah, but you're not going to get people to want to do it for like peanuts. Like you're going to want.
No, I can see like they have the 2 main guys, 2 or 3.
The writers and stuff, they're gonna want money. They're gonna want like.
But that's why you get a producer.
For the network.
I don't know. There's got to be some way to do it where you can budget it out the right way. There's got to be. There has to be. There's a lot of ways to put TV series out, and like I said,
it must be money. I just don't see because this seems like it's a cash. It could be a cash cow. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like the spinoffs that they could produce under the Game of Thrones kind of stuff, right? But like
But I also think like what you were saying about Walking Dead, it's like it's so watered down that it almost loses its appeal. Like, I know you kind of touched on that a little bit. I'm sure like George R.R. Martin, the author of this story, like he doesn't want all of these spin-offs out there too, because it kind of just waters down the story.
Maybe they're a bit more sacred about it. Yeah, that's that too. All right, there's only so many stories they could tell, but I honestly though don't know. I don't see how they can't do at least 2 shows at the same time in the year.
Yeah,
I think they can pull that off very easily, and they've already talked about 3 other ideas that they've had for shows. We just haven't gotten them yet, right? So, and like you said, I think the fallout of the original Game of Thrones show was so catastrophic in terms of the public opinion of how that show ended. I think because. Maybe that like we had talked about it earlier when doing the House of the Dragon is they weren't sure if this was going to succeed at the time, right? Based off of the reception that they got from that. Everybody I talked to is really hype though. That was a fan of Game of Thrones for this 2nd season of House of the Dragon. I feel like no one has been talking about it because it's been a while, but now again, everybody I know that watches Game of Thrones has been very highly anticipating this new season. Like they're
100%.
Right. So that's what I mean. I think now's the time. Like by the end of this season, if they were to say, hey, we're coming back in the fall with a spinoff, like that would be sick. But I mean, we know that's not going to happen because they haven't announced anything yet. But like, it would be, I think by the time they if they do a 3rd season of this show, like they have planned, I think that they need to have another show in the chamber at that point. Like they have to have something else ready to go. I think after that, personally.
I hope so.
Keep it going, right? Like, right? They have to keep it going at this point. Because there's so many things you could do. There's so much possibilities of stories to be told with the cast of characters and all the different places in this world, right? Like it's a very rich kind of, you know what I mean? Like it is like there's lots of things they can do, right? So I guess we'll see. But this episode though is called The Black Queen, which is the finale of season 1 of House of the Dragon. And as I mentioned, season 2 is going to have 8 episodes instead of 10, the usual 10 that these seasons do. Jay, let's go over to you first here for this one. What'd you think of this episode, the finale?
It's really good, man. Really fucking intense. You get to see a lot of gross shit. You got to see a lot of cool shit. You got to see a lot of fucking everything, man, in one. And I think this is what kind of gave me the whole fucking, oh my God, with the dragons. And this is what kind of, I mean, it did when we were first talking about the season, but I mean, this is what I think set it off and really pushed me to go watch the Game of Thrones with Nico and do it, the other show because of that. And like, because of shit that happens in this stuff. So in this series so far, and I mean, this episode especially. So there's a lot of interesting facts and things you didn't know. So I mean, it's really cool.
if you go back and check our stats, check the records, me and Jay usually do a show. We do it twice a year now. We actually do a mid-year check-in usually now. I don't know if we actually haven't discussed doing that yet this year, but we do these media
about that.
yeah, we do these kind of end of the year media reviews every year on the Late Night Chat Network. Me and Jay, we do this show we've done every year that we've done the podcast. And it's kind of like an overview and like top 5 of all of our favorite media that came out during the year, like TV shows, movies, music, things like that. Anything that we consumed, like multimedia shit. And Jay, when this show came out, this was his #1 show that year. If you go back and check the record, that is the case. I remember you gave this your #1 show when this came out that year out of everything you had watched. And Jay watches like 100 fucking shows, guys. Like
I can tell you, every station they're on, like every fucking channel.
Yeah, like like clockwork. Like this guy has to catch up on his shows every week. So that's his thing. That's his thing that he enjoys doing. So yeah, that was a big fucking deal at the time. I remember like how much you love this show right out the gate, right? So that's good to hear that revisiting it, you're still pretty satisfied with it, because you seem to have liked this a lot. I mean, listen, we had 8 seasons to go off of for Game of Thrones, but you weren't as satisfied. I feel like at certain points you were like, you couldn't wait to watch the next episode of Game of Thrones. But by the end of it, I think you were kind of like, yeah, that was good, but this is like, you're ready for the fucking next season.
Well,
now, ready, right?
I felt like Game of Thrones after when I went back to watch it was more PG, considering this one. Like this one has been really graphic to me. It's been really fucking just all around nasty, like it should be. You know what I mean? I mean, we've seen some crazy stuff, yes, but it involved more of like incest and that kind of stuff from the old. But we didn't. We've seen some cooler things as opposed to just dragons. But I mean, right now, it's just a lot more, I don't know, gruesome and different than
it definitely is. We talked about that.
Yeah, I think
so. It's really got me by the balls, if for the sake, like, I mean, I don't mean to be like that, but it's just, it's got me good, this show. So I'm going to be one of those guys like you from fucking Game of Thrones times, when you guys used to watch that and get all waiting for next week. I love the anticipation, guys, of waiting for this show. Like, people don't like that so much anymore, but I love it. And I religiously know which days they're coming out on, so I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
Right? It's a sickness, I think.
Christina, what'd you think of this episode?
I like this episode. Yeah. This one was, and I think I like it because it gives me like all the feels. You go up and down in like the feels for this whole thing. Like, you start out like really anxious, and then you get really sad, and then you feel hopeful, and then you get really there's a lot of suspense, and then there's a lot of like shock, and there's a lot of everything in this episode. So I really like this one.
I think you guys both hit on it, was that this kind of gave you a bit of everything that we've kind of experienced already in this show, in this season, in this one episode kind of. I mean, from everything like Jay said, to a gross scene, which another horrific kind of childbirth moment, honestly. We'll get into that. And and then even the dragon stuff that we got, and the family drama and everything else, right? So this kind of episode did have it all, in that aspect. So I did really enjoy this one as well, revisiting it. Also, the ending of this episode is one of the only things I remembered about this show going into us recapping and talking about this show. That's how shocking the ending was to me the first time I watched this. I remember being fucking super shocked at the way this ended.
But
just
I had forgot.
You forgot, eh? I didn't forget.
Episode, yes.
I didn't forget. I knew this was. That was one of the few things I remembered about this show, was the way it ended, because I've been literally waiting for them to fucking touch on that since 2 years ago at this point, right? So so you forgot, eh? Wow, it's a shocking fucking moment.
Yeah, because it threw me right off.
Changes
when I watched
everything
it again.
too. Changes everything.
Well, I mean, as it was slowly getting to that point, I was slowly remembering, but I was like, okay, it's a little vague, right, for me right there.
Yeah, it's one of those fucking crossroad moments though in Game of Thrones, where it's like, this could have all went differently if this one thing didn't fucking happen. And we kind of witnessed that at the end of this episode, right? And it's always for some stupid fucking reason that some asshole fucking had to stick his neck in some situation, and then it kind of changed the fate of everything that came after it, right? It's kind of interesting in that way, and we've seen that time and time again in Game of Thrones. So like, it's one of those things where like we should have been expecting something like that, but it still fucking lulled me, like brought me right in and fucking shocked me, right? I was like, I couldn't believe that shit the first time I watched it.
But at this point, we didn't even know if there was a second season coming in, and we were like, going, oh my God, how did they just do that? What's gonna happen now? How's Rhaenyra gonna react? And then, we're slowly starting to see trailers and stuff, so we kind of get the vibe that's coming out of this second season.
It's so interesting because, like, I've watched this a couple times, and I swear I thought that, I know we're gonna get to it, but I swear that I heard them tell Rhaenyra like what had happened, but now watching it again, it was like, no, it was all silent, and it was just the way that like she moved. It's like, what happened based on the way she moved. And I'm like, I swear I thought I heard Daemon's voice like say this to her. And it's just wild to see this again. Like it was, and then there was also another part of that I forgot. Like I thought, anyways, we'll get into it when we get to that scene. But like, there was one thing that I forgot that was a little bit more of a catalyst to like, anyways, it was crazy. Like it was, crazy.
There's some good moments in this one for sure. But all right, I guess we'll get into it then, that all being said. But yeah, great episode. Again, make sure to like and subscribe, everyone. All right, a pregnant Rhaenyra Targaryen finds her second son, Lucerys Velaryon, studying the island of Driftmark on the painted table of Dragonstone. Lucerys insists that lordship should have passed to Vaemon Velaryon rather than himself, as he believes himself unfit for the role of Lord of the Tides. Rhaenyra assures her son that she felt the same way when her father Viserys named her as his heir, and promises that just as Viserys prepared her to play that part, she will do the same for him. The moment between mother and son is interrupted by Sir Laurent Marbrand of the Kingsguard, who informs Rhaenyra that Princess Rhaenys has arrived on Dragonback and requests an audience with her and Prince Daemon. Anything about this?
I love how they want an audience, but yet they only want 2 people.
It's requesting an audience of their presence, essentially, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, just throws me off.
So, okay. My presence is my present. You ever heard that one?
Yeah, I have. It's annoying.
My presence is my present?
Yeah. So when you show up to a party, you're like, my presence is my present.
I should have used that for years, man.
There you go. You could have.
What the heck?
There you go. I'll give you to that one for free.
Yeah, now 20 years later.
Thinking about this scene, it's like it's very similar because so for this episode, we're not going to see Alicent and Otto in this episode. So it's like last episode was very much about the Hightowers and the Green Targaryens versus this episode, which is very much like Rhaenyra and the Black Targaryens. And it's interesting because in this scene, like the opening scene, it's like Lucerys is telling Rhaenyra how he feels about inheriting his throne, right? But just the juxtaposition and how like Rhaenyra talks him into it, like in a more prideful, you'll be fine way versus the way that Alicent talks to Aegon about it, and he has the same thing. Like, I don't want this. Like, I don't deserve this. I don't like stop. Right. And it's just interesting to see the different like
parallels. Yeah. You're right. Like there's some things that are similar and just their approach is a little bit different in terms of like, yeah, I agree.
I didn't see that until
I didn't either until you mentioned it right now. Yeah, that's a good point. Kind of talking about these episodes back to back like we are. Yeah, it kind of is pretty obvious then in that sense. Yeah, good point. Sir Laurent leads Rhaenys in. Rhaenyra asked if there is a word of her husband Corlys's recovery, but Rhaenys interrupts to inform Rhaenyra that her father is dead and her half-brother Aegon has been crowned as his successor. A stunned Daemon asks how his brother died, which again, stunned. I mean, when Rhaenys, he's stunned. He really was in that scene though. He's like, what?
He's like, what?
Well, they were just there. They were just there.
Months. No,
no, I think
they were slaying him.
What voice is that?
It was my Matt Smith, like, you know.
I like it. Good.
Oh man.
I was gonna try to do it again. I'm not gonna do it.
No, you should. That's like your fucking Sansa. They gotta do that. Matt Smith voice now. A stunned Damon asks how his brother died. When Rhaenys admits ignorance, Damon accuses Alicent Hightower of having murdered him. Rhaenys explains that she was made a prisoner in her own chambers while the Greens made their preparations, and that she witnessed Aegon's coronation at the Dragon Pit before escaping atop Meleys. Rhaenyra is appalled to learn the Greens crown Aegon before the masses of King's Landing, knowing as Rhaenys reiterates the masses will now see Aegon as the rightful king. When Daemon angrily demands to know why Rhaenys didn't burn the Greens when she had them at her mercy, she replies that while war will follow, it is not her place to declare a war. She only brought the warning out of loyalty to her house and husband. Rhaenys advises Rhaenyra to leave Dragonstone with her family before the Greens come for her. When Rhaenyra doubles over in pain, she reaches beneath her dress, her fingers coming away bloody, and the shock of the news has sent her into premature labor.
But she was doing it. She was feeling pains at every fucking thing that she was saying to her. Like every time it was going against her, she was just feeling that, like, you know.
Yeah, the stress.
It was so weird the way they played the scene jumping out.
Yeah.
You know, so very well done, I think, shot at least.
Any other comments on that? No.
It just, you know, because at first, you know, I know we questioned in the last episode, like, why didn't Rhaenys just like fire blast them all, you know, before escaping? And, you know, they had this little moment of connection between Rhaenys and Alicent. She explains it here, like, you know, although yes, war will follow, it's not my war to start. Like, I'm not gonna.
She's an impartial party for the most part, right? So like it makes sense, but she also had to pick a side. Like they were both kind of like Alicent was asking for her to join her side, and she kind of was like, no, obviously that was her response, right? But that doesn't mean that she's going to do their dirty work for them too. I get it. I mean, it makes sense, but she did have that opportunity though to, if she was really on their side, she could have solved this whole issue right there and then, right? Which I get why Damon's like, why didn't you? Like, what the fuck, right? So anyways. As Rhaenyra struggles with her labor pains, attended to Maester Gerardus and several midwives, fearful because Rhaenyra's pregnancy is far from full term, Daemon holds counsel with the lords of the Narrow Sea, the Kingsguard, and the captains in command of Dragonstone's garrison. He warns them to watch for any small ships trying to land on the island, fearing that the Greens may try a stealth attack against them, and tells his captains to conscript the Dragon Keepers if need to be to bolster their numbers. Rhaenys finds Jace and Luke sparring under the watchful eye of Sir Stephen Darklyn and brings them to their mother's chamber, where Rhaenyra informs them of their grandfather's death and Aegon's usurpation of the Iron Throne, commanding that nothing is to be done without her leave. So yeah, anything on that? No. Daemon is informed by Lord Bartimos Celtigar that Lord Corlys's fever has broken. There you go. The guy's alive. Didn't think this guy was still alive, and here he is. And he has departed Evanfall, though his destination is unclear. Daemon commands ravens to be sent to rally their closest allies and declares his intention to fly to Riverrun to secure House Tully's allegiance and rally the River Lords when Jace enters and relays his mother's command. Daemon disregards Jace, commands Lord Celtigar to send the ravens, and instructs Jace and the Kingsguard to follow him to the Dragonmont. On the slopes, Daemon questions Laurent and Stefan as to where their allegiances lie, compelling them to swear oaths of loyalty to Rhaenyra as queen and Jace as her heir. Having Caraxes loom over the two knights to warn them of the price of treason, in her chambers, a screaming Rhaenyra, ignoring the offers of the midwives to help her, gives birth to a stillborn daughter that she had planned to name Visenya. She later prepares the child for burial under the watchful eye of the Silent Sisters, while Daemon goes to the beach to grieve. So yeah, that was a pretty shocking fucking moment, because she literally takes this stillbirth out of her, like she pulls it out herself, which, I mean, if you thought the other scene was scarring and disturbing and whatever else with the actual birth that they showed, or I guess the cutting them open, this was, I think this was worse personally for me. I thought, like, I forgot about that, and I was like, holy fuck, when this moment happened, I thought this was pretty crazy that they showed this.
Who needs a midwife, eh?
I mean,
well, they were begging to help her, and she was
nuts.
just in such like a state where she was like, no, like, I'm gonna do this myself. And you know, like she already kind of knew like this baby was not gonna
and
survive.
it looks like it was strangled by the umbilical cord there, right? I mean, that's why it which I know is something that occurs, and that was it was a brutal scene. Like, I was like, the fact that they actually showed, like, her.
I know they were showing it, but I thought it was like he was missing a limb or something like that, like a leg. They don't know why they were showing it at a weird, I don't know, the angle that they had it at. It was, you said you seen the umbilical cord thing, and I wasn't sure. I just figured it was pure premature, like even the size, like the shape of the skull, if you noticed it.
Well, how many
was totally
was she here?
I don't like because she didn't say how far, but the maesters, when they were talking, they said this child is too early. Like, they said it's not ready yet.
Like, what are we thinking? Like several months? Like how big would it be? Like
probably she was probably like maybe 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
Like, like too early.
And this would have been her and Daemon's first, right? Like together.
Third.
Together?
Yeah, because remember when she goes to visit Viserys, they have the 2 boys that she named one.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And her oldest one is Aegon.
Right.
And then Viserys.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, really haven't seen or heard of them that much. I think the last 2 episodes. So that's why.
Because they're like baby, like they're infants, like they're little. Like,
but they do mention this is her third. That's right, because she even says, "Oh, I've given birth to like however many fucking kids." Like, she's like, "I think I know what I'm doing," kind of thing. Like she says in this.
The midwives say, like, "Princess, like, it's okay. You'll be okay. Like, you've done this 5 times before," because she has, like, the 3 with Strong, and then the 2 with Daemon.
Because the 2 girls that are a Valyrian mix here, he had with his other wife, which
with Laena.
That's right. Yeah. Which, when you see them all together there,
I know. I just fucked up family, man.
Yeah, it's a mixed family. I mean, it is like
it's a modern family.
Twined. Oh yeah,
except for all the incest. Or maybe some
who knows these days? Yeah,
the South.
Who knows?
Yeah, boys.
So, I don't know. This scene was pretty crazy. This scene, honestly, like, yeah.
It's like what Jay said, or like, it's like the level of, I guess, grossness or gore in this series is, it's different than of Game of Thrones. I think this, like, House of the Dragon has very much like adult and mature.
Yeah.
Like,
big time different things,
content versus the goriness and bloodiness of Game of Thrones.
Like swords, yeah.
Yeah, but even then, there's some fucking gory moments in this show.
Of course, but it's more of like adult and like mature content versus like versus like
they're really like
battle,
They're really I feel like they're really pushing the boundaries too with stuff that they can put on TV.
Absolutely. I mean, they showed the fucking crown, like the head crown, like she literally pulled it out of her fucking self. You don't see that, like, you know what I mean, on shows. Like, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, that's why I'm like, wow.
That was some. I thought. I don't know, man, what I thought. I just could only imagine what that felt like.
I also made a note that I really liked. Daemon's dragon when he's intimidating those guys, because he's got like a real long neck dragon. Oh yeah,
it's the size of his penis. Yeah, he's just trying to show that people.
But like, I like again how there's different characteristics of, like, it shows that there's different breeds of the dragons and shit.
Yeah, they don't all look.
Oh no, cool.
Like, this one's neck, weird. If you notice, is like really fucking long. Like, it's like a long ass neck dragon, and it's like, it's big, but it's not like
a giraffe dragon.
It's like chonky kind of looking, but it's got like a weird long neck. Yeah, it's weird. Like, it's like a snake or something.
What are those dinosaurs with the long neck and the long tail like that? That's kind of
Brontosaurus.
Yeah,
there you go. I picture that, like with wings.
Yeah, that's kind of what it kind of a neck it was. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it was. Lizard skin. Yeah, that's so crazy.
So, so yeah, that happens. A small funeral is held the next day, interrupted by the arrival of Sir Eric Cargyle, who kneels before Rhaenyra, declares his loyalty to her, and offers her father's crown, stolen from the Red Keep in the confusion of the Green's coup.
Daemon, that was a nice move, bro.
Yeah.
That was.
Daemon places the crown on Rhaenyra's head and declares her his queen. Her sons, stepdaughters, Kingsguard, and the congregation, save Rhaenys, kneel before Rhaenyra as the rightful queen of the Seven Kingdoms. I thought this was a really good scene following what just happened to the baby. Yeah, like I thought this was like a powerful, like fucking scene where they all kind of were just like, okay, yeah, this is what it is now, and you know we're here.
I like the scene too.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah, because she went from a hard one like that one day to this. Like she just all of a sudden, and then she's like giving her dad's throne, which is like a crown, which is crazy.
Yeah, because now it's like official. Now they can actually go for the throne after like it being kind of said for so many years. Now it actually is up for grabs, and like and rightfully hers, right? And also, like I wrote down here because I wish I had the music queued up, but there's like some sick music happening in this moment where it's like I just wrote down I don't know how it goes, but
that was really cool music.
Yeah, like as she's like ascending, like she's got the crowd. I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, I was like, I wonder if they have that for like an intro.
I'll have to find it because it was pretty sick. It got me hyped up in this moment.
Yeah, the crowning of.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah. I'll have to see if you can find it. Rhaenyra and her attendant lords gather around the painted table. Rhaenyra accepts a cup of wine from her stepdaughter and cousin Rhaena Targaryen, serving as cupbearer in the same capacity Rhaenyra once did before asking for a report. Daemon informs her that Dragonstone's garrison stands at 30 knights, 100 crossbowmen, and 300 men at arms. You find it?
I think so.
Sufficient to defend the island, but not to conquer Westeros. Go ahead if you have it, if you can try to play it.
Let's see.
Daemon adds that he has sent word to men in the city watch whose loyalty he can count on, but he cannot say how many will answer, while Gerardus confirms. Is it playing? I might have to pull it up. Is it on YouTube?
It is. So, House of the Dragon soundtrack, Rhaenyra's coronation.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find this here.
Hold on, let's see.
Because now I'm interested to hear this.
Oh yeah, and then you like scroll forward like to like
down.
57, like second 57.
Rhaenyra's coronation. How far into it?
57 seconds.
Oh no, I have House of the Dragon soundtrack. Yeah, okay, 57 seconds. Okay, there you go.
Rhaenyra's coronation, yeah.
Let me see if it comes up. You hear that? 1 second. I gotta share it.
This is a first, everybody.
Yeah. We weren't ready for this.
We don't interrupt.
We weren't ready for this one. Hold on. Here we go. Let me see if I can share it here. Okay.
I feel like I need to have fairy lights or something going on.
Yeah, but that's the one. I was like, it was so badass, right? Like you literally could just have her on the screen there and that music play. Yeah, that was pretty sick. Thank you for that.
I love that symbol, man. On that fucking with the three-headed dragon there.
On her crown, yeah.
Yeah, I really do, man. That's it. Actually shows a long neck there, dude. If you know, they all have long necks there. It's kind of funny.
Daemon adds that he has sent word to men in the city watch whose loyalty he can count on, but he cannot say how many will answer, while Gerardus confirms that houses Celtigar, Massey, and this is where they start getting into the bigger world now, like as we've they haven't really got into as much. Darklyn, Staunton, and Bar Emon have affirmed their loyalty. Rhaenyra asserts that House Arryn and the Vale will support her on account of their kinship through her late mother, Aemma Arryn. Gerardus adds that he has also sent a raven to Lord Grover Tully, an old friend of her father's. There's the Tullys to sway his support, though Rhaenyra insists that the fickle Grover will need to be convinced of the Black strength and assurance of support should war break out. Daemon insists that he will treaty with Grover personally. Sir Stefan mentions Storm's End and Winterfell. Lord Celtigar reminds them of House Stark's reputation as honorable oath keepers and asserts them that the northern houses will follow where the Starks lead, while Rhaenyra remarks that Lord Boros Baratheon will need to be reminded of his late father Bormund's oath. See, even back then, the Starks, right? It's the same fucking types of loyalty.
The Baratheons are just that type of person too. Like you see it after, so it's kind of weird. That's interesting.
Yeah. Rhaenyra then turns her attention to Rhaenys, asking for news from Driftmark. Rhaenys remarks that Corlys is sailing to Dragonstone, though she demurs that Daemon assumes that he intends to declare for Rhaenyra. Daemon asserts that House Lannister will back the Greens, as Tyland has been a loyal supporter of Otto's on the Small Council for years. And the Greens will need the Lannister fleet if the Valyrians choose to back Rhaenyra. Given that House Lannister's allegiance will ensure that the Westerlands support the Greens, Daemon asserts that the support of the Riverlands to the Black cause will be essential. The Lannisters are a big fucking part of this, even here. Like, they're like, and without the Lannisters, that, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a big issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can see they were a powerhouse even then, too. Mm-hmm. Without, like, I mean, you know.
Well, they've always, I think that because they've just been rich. Like, they've always had money and gold.
Yeah, they had their people working for them. They knew what they were doing.
Right.
And it's funny how they align everything in Starks and all that stuff to being loyal still, even though it and it plays out even right into Game of Thrones. So that's kind of cool.
Okay, where are we here? Lord Celtigar interrupts, arguing that talk of fighting men is irrelevant when Rhaenyra's forces command dragons in numbers not wielded in war since the Valyrian freehold. Rhaenyra points out that the Greens command dragons too, but Daemon adds that they only have 3 adult dragons, and here's all the dragon names for you guys who's keeping count here: Vhagar, Sunfire, and Dreamfire. While in addition to the 2 Caraxes, in addition to only have, while in addition to Caraxes, Syrax, and Meleys, the Black possesses Vermax, Eryx, and Tyraxes with Rhaenyra's son, and Moondancer with Baela. He also notes that there are several unclaimed dragons. This is fucking crazy now. Hold on. In need of riders. Listen to this. Sea Smoke, Vermithor, and Silverwing, as well as 3 feral dragons. Grey Ghost. That's fucking sick, that name. Sheep Stealer. and
the feral ones are just like the ones that are roaming?
Yeah, they're just unclaimed. No, bro. And the Cannibal. One's just straight up called the fucking Cannibal, bro. Really? Like, that's crazy. Like, can you imagine how big that one's gonna fucking be?
I know.
Jesus.
How fucking crazy is gonna be, like, foaming at its mouth?
Some of these are probably all fucking crazy if they're unclaimed. They probably just can't wrangle them, right? Like, if you think about
get anybody to ride them.
Yeah. Living Wilds on Dragonstone. Daemon proposes seizing Harrenhal as a base of operations and using the dragons to lay waste to King's Landing. But before further discussion can be had, Sir Eric interrupts them to inform them a galleon is approaching the island, flying the banner of a 3-headed green dragon. Daemon grabs Dark Sister and orders the garrison to battle positions. That part was great, eh? All the dragon talk. Like, I really like that moment.
Yeah, so did I.
Dragons.
Also, this table map in the scene is the
unbelievable.
The sickest table map that we've seen on this show, right? Hands down.
I mean, Viserys was cool because it was like handmade. I get it.
Yeah, but with the fire element is like
the lava. It's not even like fire. It's like their Valyrian steel running through it.
Yeah.
So actually, this table, because this is the first time we've seen it like in use the way it's supposed to be. So I saw something somewhere. This was a while ago. I think we were still recording Game of Thrones. How it was like, it's such a shame that Daenerys doesn't have any of her Targaryen ancestors to show her how this table worked, because this is the table that she used in her council when she was on Dragonstone herself. But they didn't know. that they literally had to light candles and stick it underneath to see it in its glory.
They were just using it as is, like
as a table,
discarded old table. Yeah.
With all the land, like you could see where the pieces are and stuff, but like all they had to do was literally light candles and like put it under.
That's
and it
so
just would have
cool that they kept that though for this show, like knowing like they could have probably already done that if they had the table in fucking Game of Thrones, but they're like, you know what I mean? Like that would be the state of a table that was abandoned all this fucking time, right? Like whatever.
Like because what else are you gonna do with it? Like, you know,
bro, we should have something like that, Jay, when we do all the LNC meetings for later. We should have a table that just lights up like that. And like, this is the number of subscribers we want over here. Then it'll be lit up.
Yeah, and then we'll have just the fucking lights on us. Okay, the regular circle lights, the ring lights, and we'll light it up from underneath with what? Candles?
LED. No, you need LED lights.
We need strips, bro. We need a table like
I got those strip of the colorful ones. We can have fun, bro. You know, ones that change color and go to the music. We can have it going to the Game of Thrones song.
Okay, how much do you want to make a fucking bet that there is somebody that's made this table out there that's a super fucking fan? I guarantee fucking it. There has to be
it's right in their house, replica.
Bro.
You know the best person to ask this question, because I'm sure he's looked into it, would be my brother-in-law. We should definitely like text him and ask him, because I'm sure he's looked into it, because this is a sick table. Like this is such a cool table.
Yeah, I was like, when I wrote the note, I was like, I could talk 10 minutes about how sick this table is. I was like, this is the best.
So it's either showing your age as like an adult now, because now we're into furniture and
like
appliances.
Nerding out over this fucking table.
Yeah. Or it actually is a really cool table.
No, it's a cool fucking table. I mean, I think we've seen a lot of like tables like this in Game of Thrones, like the battle ones. No, it's true though. We've seen a lot of
tables that light up.
No, but this is like such an adult show. It's like we're enamored with like a chair.
We turned into the Game of Thrones home show. Guys.
Yeah, you know,
home
the decoration. Show. How are they decorating?
Oh my god, we've gotten to that point. How they're decorating.
I mean, between the table and the fact that he drops like fucking 20 dragons names in this scene, this might be the best fucking scene of the season as far as I'm concerned.
It's just so nonchalantly saying the names.
He's like, we have dragons, we got unclaimed dragons, we have war dragons. We got this sick ass table. Like,
what do we need the men for, really?
Yeah, I wouldn't even leave that. Like, why are they even going to war? I'd be like, oh, it's okay. We have fucking dragons. And
let them come to us.
Like,
yeah. Come on.
I don't know. Yeah, come on. Let's plan this out on the table.
Plan
an attack.
Oh
anyways, come on. That's the best.
There's enough table talk here.
Literally.
On the bridge leading to Dragonstone, Daemon, the 3 Kingsguard's knights, and a detachment of Dragonstone's garrison intercept the Green's negotiation party, headed by Sir Otto Hightower, accompanied by Sir Arik Cargyle, Grand Maester Orwell, and several of his own guards. Otto declares that he is being instructed by Queen Alicent to offer terms to Rhaenyra, who arrives atop Syrax. Otto greets her as princess. Rhaenyra retorts that she is Queen Rhaenyra, and Otto and his companions are all traitors. Otto presents the terms that King Aegon II is offering in return for Rhaenyra publicly and acknowledging him as king. She will keep Dragonstone, and the castle will pass to her son Jaehaerys after her death. Lucerys will be confirmed as her heir to Driftmark and the lands and holdings of House Valyrian. Rhaenyra's sons by Daemon will be given places of honor at court. Aegon the Younger as the king's squire, and Viserys as his cupbearer. And King Aegon will pardon any knight or lord who conspired with Rhaenyra against his ascent to the throne. So yeah, he comes with a bunch of fucking terms or whatever for her, and she's not hearing it, right? Which I would agree. You know, I don't blame her.
I wouldn't either.
Fuck them.
Screw you.
I really am not liking this Otto character.
Oh, I like Otto a lot, but not in this moment. No, I know.
I don't. He's a snake.
The problem is now he has no allegiance. Like her father's dead, and like he was good to her father, although he kind of was also a little shady. You know what I mean? But like now that her father's dead, it's not good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, I think her father was the only reason he was holding back with other plans that he had.
I feel like we know he's been using his daughter to just, keep his house in power, keep his house get a good power, and you know what I mean. Like,
but even when he got banished, he didn't fucking try to come back. Like, she was the one that got him back there because of her and Loras is fucking, let me jerk off to your feet, I'll do this for you type move that he did, right? Like, I'm sorry to just throw that in there, but I mean, no, but like, that's he didn't actively. Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
No, seriously. No,
trying to bring the energy, okay? Nico said we're losing energy. I'm trying to open my eyes,
Oh my god, every time we say his name now.
Yeah, that's what he did though. He's like, hey.
Instead of Lars, it's like, meh.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. This is so off topic here.
Yeah. So anyways, no, that was good. So yeah, I mean, that's what ends up happening. So fuck him. Daemon hatefully declares that he would rather feed his sons to dragons than have them carry cups and shields for Aegon, venomously calling his nephew a drunken usurper cunt of a king. Otto returns that Aegon was crowned by a septon of the faith before the eyes of thousands, and his possession of Aegon the Conqueror's crown, sword, and name give him greater legitimacy, while adding that the Greens have also sent terms to houses Stark, Tully, and Baratheon to win their loyalty. Rhaenyra asserts those three houses all swore allegiance to her when Viserys named her his heir. Otto smugly replies that old oaths will not make Rhaenyra queen, asserting that the succession changed the day Aegon was born, even if Viserys and Rhaenyra refused to see it. Outraged, the furious Rhaenyra rips Otto's badge of office from his cloak, denouncing him as a fucking traitor and no more hand than Aegon is king. This gets brutal here. There's a lot of fucking barbs being thrown here between these two. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Orwell hands Otto a sheaf of parchment that he presents to Rhaenyra. On closer inspection, she sees it as a page torn from 10,000 Ships, a book that she and Alicent read when they were girls in the Red Keep's Godswood 20 years ago. Otto asserts that Alicent still fondly remembers her and Rhaenyra's girlhood friendship, and urges Rhaenyra to accept the terms for the sake of peace. Enraged by Otto's attempts to manipulate his wife, Daemon draws Dark Sister, declaring that Alicent can have her answer now, stuffed in her father's mouth along with his withered cock, prompting both.
Oh, fuck, I love him.
Yeah, he's great. To sides to draw their swords and Syrax to roar angrily at the threat of her rider, but Rhaenyra diffuses the situation by telling Otto that King's Landing will have her answer on the morrow. Yeah, he's awesome fucking in this scene, Daemon. He throws, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I feel like what's his name? Patch is going to be like him, too. What's his name? The one with the patch is going to be
Aemond?
like, yeah, similar to him. I feel I don't know. We'll see what happens next
yeah.
season.
Around the painted table that evening, Rhaenyra and her advisors discuss the terms offered to them by the Greens. Daemon insists that while it's not easy for a man to kill a dragon, dragons can kill each other, and the fact that they have numerical superiority of dragons gives them an advantage over the Greens. Rhaenyra counters that she knows the histories of Valyria thanks to her father and has no wish to rule over the wasteland of ash and bone that will be left at the end of a war between dragons. Lord Celtigar expresses that Rhaenyra is considering the terms offered by the Hightowers, but Rhaenyra asserts that her duty as her father's heir is to keep the realm stable and united rather than plunge it into war, even if it means that she does not sit on the Iron Throne. Daemon scoffs at this, protesting that the Greens have already declared war and raises his voice at her inaction. Rhaenyra tells the other lords to clear the chamber, leaving only her and Daemon in the room. Any comments on this? No?
It's just interesting. I think that one line that she says about not wanting to rule over a wasteland of ash and bone, I think there was even like, this isn't like what like my thought, but it like Daenerys says that she's not interested in being the queen of the ashes also. So it's interesting how they both have the same thought process going into this battle or into war.
Right.
Who knows? I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Daemon insists that Rhaenyra cannot submit to the Hightowers who have stolen her birthright and urges that as queen, she is obligated to crush rebellion. Rhaenyra protests that they are bound by more than personal ambition, reminding Daemon of what her father told him about the Song of Ice and Fire. Aegon the Conqueror's prophetic dream that a Targaryen must keep the realm united against the return of a great evil in the north, only for Daemon to seize her by the throat. Choking Rhaenyra, Daemon angrily hisses that Viserys was obsessed with omens, importance to give his feckless reign meaning, and asserts that dragons, not dreams, made House Targaryen kings. Daemon releases Rhaenyra, but though taken aback by his violence against her, Rhaenyra is stunned to realize that Viserys never told Daemon about the Conqueror's vision, indicating that he never in his life considered Daemon as his heir. Shaken at having raised a hand to his wife and the realization that Viserys never truly trusted him, Daemon withdraws. Got pretty bad here for a moment, obviously, when he started choking her out there. So that was pretty crazy.
I don't know. I remember if that's how I thought he turned her around in the beginning of the season when he took her out. You know what I mean? You get where I'm going. So I didn't think it was that weird. I mean, I thought it was pretty violent. Fight. I thought it was gonna, lead into some, sort of kinkiness. But yeah, that's just me hoping. Here's to hoping.
I don't think that's what he was going for in this moment, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I get what JT's going, but no, she just delivered a baby, and
I know. It doesn't work like that. I know.
Fuck, the Stars won. Fucking Dallas. All right. In a bedchamber in Dragonstone, Corlys Velaryon awakes to find his wife sitting beside his bed. Rhaenys accuses him of having abandoned her and their granddaughters to go adventuring in the Stepstones. Corlys admits his error, insisting that returning to the sea was his way of coping with the deaths of their children. Rhaenys also alerts him to the Vaemon's death, saddened by what ambitious pursuits have cost his family. Corlys insists to Rhaenys that he will abandon his pursuit of the Iron Throne, abstain from choosing a side in the conflict, and retire to Driftmark to spend their remaining days with their grandchildren. Rhaenys argues against it, reminding him that Jace, Luke, and Joffrey are all claimants to the Iron Throne, and the boys will never be safe while Aegon holds the Iron Throne. Corlys is dismissive of the idea of supporting Rhaenyra, reminding Rhaenys that she was complicit in Laenor's death, but Rhaenys insists that Rhaenyra is the only one exercising restraint to prevent Westeros from sliding into war. This was a good scene, actually. I like this a lot.
This next scene? Or this one that we just talked about?
This one, too, and the next one. I actually really like Corlys after this. I don't feel like we had enough great moments with him prior to this before he went off to battle again and almost got killed and we thought he was dead. And even when we said that even when they said he could be dead, I wasn't really affected all that much by it. But I actually really, I really like the way he went about things in these scenes. Honestly, I like how he, all these guys, he seems like he keeps running off to war to avoid his actual problems, right? Which is a thing.
I feel that's
what his son wanted to do.
No, I know. But the worst part about all this is they both think he's dead. Meanwhile, he's off having a fucking gay love affair with some guy that he escaped on a boat with, right? Which they don't know that Rhaenyra actually did look out for him at the end of the day, right? Which I think they would think differently about her if they knew that. But I don't know why they can't. I know.
Because they would never allow him to go. Why is he running? Why?
Yeah. No, I get it. It just, I just think it sucks that that's the case. This guy's talking about running away from his problems and the fact that his son died. Meanwhile, he's out there somewhere, right? For as far as we know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It just sucks. Or not. I also liked his line here. I wrote it down here where he's like, ambition is a Valyrian weakness, he says in this scene, about how he continues to try to, they keep trying to make something of this situation that they're in, and he keeps losing, right? And between the two of them, they're not really getting anywhere. So I kind of respected the fact where he's just I'm just gonna settle down because I'm tired of fucking running, and I'm tired of I almost died this time, and you're here by yourself. I respected him. I think in this moment is what I meant to say. I was I kind of like this dude now. So yeah. No more chasing the throne, they just wanted to be content in this moment. And then the next morning, Corlys, accompanied by Rhaenys, Baela, and Rhaena, joins a congregation of the Black Council. Rhaenyra quickly expresses her relief to see him healthy again, while Corlys offers his condolences for Viserys' death. When Corlys makes note of Daemon's absence, Rhaenyra demurs that matters require his attention. Corlys considers the gathered lords of the Narrow Sea and bluntly declares them too few to win a war for the Iron Throne, as well as dismissing Rhaenyra's hopes that houses Arryn, Stark, and Baratheon will support her. Rhaenyra asserts that aside from her blood ties with the Aarons and Baratheons, all of the great houses swore to support her claim when Viserys named her heir. When Corlys points out that this includes House Hightower, who have now, forsworn that oath, Rhaenyra reminds him that House Velaryon also swore to support her. After a brief look from his wife and his granddaughters, who have moved to stand with Jace and Luke in this moment, Corlys notes that Rhaenyra's house and his are bound by blood and a common cause, and insists that the Hightowers cannot be allowed to get away with their treason, asserting that House Velaryon and his fleet will support Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra thanks him and Rhaenys for their support, but insists that she will not be the first to strike, and that she wishes to know who will support her. Any comments on this scene here? This pretty big scene.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jay. I know you were going to say something. So
no, I just feel like you're getting a lot of the the story put together with the alliances and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're choosing sides right now.
Undercover, right?
Yeah.
Like, and just so that it's they're not just snuck up on, or they're not just sneaking up on something that they're not expecting. So it's kind of good to see all them coming together, and the ones that need to come together.
Yep.
And he drops another gem of a line here where he says, when she talks about all the houses that have sworn allegiance to him, he's like, "Hope is the fool's ally." When he's just like, "Yeah, well, I hope they would." This guy's just dropping gems. This fucking Corlys, right? That's what I mean. Like, he's gone for like half the season, and he comes back and he fucking shoots like 5 3-pointers.
He's learning a lot of knowledge on the road, bro.
Yeah. He's like, "Here, let me cook. Watch out. Here's some fucking gems for you guys." Yeah. I like that shit. It's good stuff.
Nothing to do but think in the ocean.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're alone with your thoughts, right? Mm-hmm. Corlys adds that despite his near death in the Stepstones, House Velaryon now controls the islands, having driven the Triarchy's forces out of the region and properly garrisoned the islands against their return. Corlys states that his men will institute a blockade of the shipping lanes that pass through the Stepstones if they haven't already, and his fleet will place a second blockade across the Gullet, reinforced by Rhaenys atop Meleys at her own suggestion, cut off all sea trade and travel to and from King's Landing. Lord Celtigar insists that a sea blockade and a landward siege could starve the Greens into surrender, but Rhaenyra asserts to have enough men to surround King's Landing, they will need the support of Aeron, Baratheon, and Stark. Jace speaks up, volunteering himself and Luke to carry Rhaenyra's demands for their support on Dragonback, as the lords will find it more difficult to refuse dragon riders than ravens. Corlys agrees, and Rhaenyra decides that Jace will travel first to the Eyrie and then to Winterfell to win the allegiance of Lady Jane Arryn, I don't know, and Lord Cragen Stark, while Luke goes to Storm's End to ensure Lord Boros Baratheon support. So there you go, all names that we know very well from Game of Thrones there.
Mm-hmm.
Very much. The 3 of them, at least.
Mm-hmm. That evening on the bridge to Dragonstone, Rhaenyra speaks with Jace and Luke before they depart on their mission. Rhaenyra notes that the people of Westeros consider the Targaryens closer to gods than men, but if they aspire to rule Westeros, House Targaryen must answer to the gods of its people. To that end, she has Jace and Luke swear on the 7-pointed star that they will be only messengers, not warriors, and take part in no fighting. Rhaenyra tells Jace that Cregan Stark is closer to his age than hers, hoping that they can find some common ground as young men, while assuring Viserys that the eternally proud Boros Baratheon will be honored to host a prince of the realm. With that, 3 dragons depart Dragonstone, Jace atop Vermax, bound for the Eyrie and Winterfell, Rhaenys on Meleys to the Gullet, and Luke on Arrax, headed for Storm's End. Concurrently, Daemon heads into the caverns beneath Dragonmont, singing the High Valyrian song, Haros Bartosi. He enters the pitch darkness of a large cavern, from within which a dragon growls before with a grout of fire. The beast reveals itself, Vermithor, the dragon once ridden by King Jaehaerys Targaryen, unclaimed since the old king's death. Angered by the intruder in his lair, Vermithor snarls and advances on Daemon, but as the latter locks eyes with the dragon and holds his ground, he becomes more subdued. Any comments on these moments?
I just like how when they look at the dragons, it's like something the dragons see in them. Like they have to actually like physically, they make that eye contact. They use that dragon's eye too, especially. And it's just, I like the way they set it all up. Just plays out really nice. You don't know why all of a sudden they take, the control, like not control, but they start to listen more to these Targaryens than anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty neat.
I thought this was really cool. You know, he's like walking around singing this like song, and yeah, like I mean the fact that I don't know, these dragons are so smart. Like they get it. Like they respond to this language, and they're just really smart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it's again, you know my thoughts on all the dragon stuff. It's all been pretty great, interesting things that we didn't really get to know them in Game of Thrones. So I'm actually happy that we're getting more dragon content with the upgraded graphics now in these seasons, as opposed to Game of Thrones, because it only got really pretty good towards the end of Game of Thrones, and
well, of course they got bigger.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Prince Lucerys flies over Shipbreaker Bay and lands at Storm's End in the midst of a severe thunderstorm. A detachment of Baratheon guardsmen are waiting for him, as is Vhagar, to his horror. Despite knowing what her presence means, Lucerys tells the Baratheon guards his purpose on Rhaenyra's emissary and is escorted to Lord Boros. In the Great Hall of Storm's End, Lucerys finds himself confronted with Lord Boros, his 4 daughters, and Prince Aemon Targaryen, who glares at his nephew silently. When Lucerys tells Boros he has brought a message from the queen, he scoffs that King Aegon did the same and asks if it is a king or queen who rules the House of Dragon. Lucerys hands his message to one of the Baratheon guards, who presents it to the illiterate Lord Boros, who is forced to call his maester to read it.
What a loser.
Yeah, and
I thought that was hilarious.
He's a fucking blowhard, this guy. Yeah,
but that's just the whole Baratheon thing, I think. They just feel like they're all idiots.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Comes from a long generation of the...
Boros takes offense when the maester tells him that Rhaenyra means to remind him of his father's oath to support her, pointing out that the Greens at least offered him a marriage pact, betrothing Aemon to his daughter Floris in return for House Baratheon's support. Boros asks which of his daughters Lucerys will wed if he supports Rhaenyra, to which Lucerys admits that he has already promised to Rhaena. Boros scornfully dismisses Lucerys for coming empty-handed, but before he can leave, Aemon, mocking Luke as Lord Strong, demands Lucerys put out his own eye as payment for the eye that Luke took from Aemon 6 years prior, claiming he intends to give it to his mother. When Lucerys refuses, Aemon hisses that Luke is craven as well as a traitor, draws a blade, and charges at Lucerys, intending to take it. Boros intervenes, telling Aemon that Lucerys is an envoy, then he'll not have bloodshed underneath his roof. Basically the equivalent of take it outside, boy. He's ordering his guards to escort Luke back to his dragon. By the time Lucerys returns to Eryx, the storm is in full force, howling wind and heavy rain battering the pair as they take off. Unaware that Aemon is following them on Vhagar, he suddenly attacks out of the clouds, using Vhagar to terrorize them, all the while cursing Luke and High Valyrian. But as the confrontation continues, Luke loses control of Eryx, who spits fire at Vhagar. The older dragon is enraged and disobeys Aemon's commands to stop, killing Eryx and Luke in one bite. A horrified Aemon watches as Eryx's mangled remains fall from the sky, aware that his impulsiveness, rage, and lack of control have now only made him a kinslayer, but ensured that Rhaenyra will never accept a peaceful resolution to the conflict and guaranteed war will ensue. This was a fucking shocking moment, guys. Yeah,
I didn't realize the different sizes, man. That's a huge size difference. One was like literally a snack compared to,
he was 10 times the size of this fucking dragon. The other one, I know. It was pretty funny.
I mean, I give him a little credit. He did try to stop, but he was taunting him too as well. So it's hard.
My question for you guys was his intention to take it this far, or did this just get out of hand and he was just trying to fuck with them?
I think he was trying to fuck with him.
Same.
And he was, because in this synopsis it's very vague, like whatever, but for a good 4 minutes, he's basically taunting him and teasing him and chasing him through the clouds and the storm and caverns and caves and this and that and whatever. So yeah, he's trying to taunt him and whatever. Now what I mentioned earlier, I forgot that Luke's dragon Arrax blows fire at Vhagar, and that's what sets her off.
Yes, because I forgot that part too.
What happened? Because it didn't seem like it was intentional, but I'm like, why is he Why did Vhagar attack? And it's like, that's why. So I don't know what happened like with Arax, but something, I mean, maybe it's a smaller dragon, they're, you know, more temperamental, but
yeah, I mean, I think it's also like they obviously don't have as well of control on these things as they hoped for, obviously, at their age, because, or like, guess what? These are still wild fucking animal, like they're dragons, so they're gonna, you know, act out as well, right, on their own feelings, because he didn't, I think, order the fire. Well, maybe he did order him to do the fire. Did he order him to do the fire?
Don't think, no, because it just came out of nowhere. Like, you don't hear anything, and it just kind of came.
Yeah, because I think he got scared of how big that fucking dragon was and how up their ass they were. So he shot a fireball at him, and then he wasn't able to stop him from retaliating because he was like, "Hey, calm down," like he's like, "Bring it in," kind of thing, and like,
serve me, serve me,
right? And you heard the other guy
say the same thing.
Yeah,
Aemon said the same thing to Vhagar. Right.
They just lost control of the dragons, and like his response was, like you said, just one fucking snap of his mouth, and he fucking ate him like whole fucking basically.
You need to be a certain age to ride a dragon, guys.
So yeah, but you're right. It wasn't intentional, even in that sense. Like it just got out of hand.
And try to explain that.
Oh, that one, but even just that one snap, like, okay, that one scene when it's like Luke and Arax like flying through the sky, and like you see above like Vhagar like in the clouds, and like just like you said, the size difference, it's like 10-12 times bigger.
He eclipses him,
and then you don't see that like anywhere else. Like this is it didn't even come in, like they were all the same size that we've ever seen before until
but they're not, right? No, and then because remember, I think in Game of Thrones they make mention that by the end of the dragon dynasty, it's like the dragons were no bigger than house cats. Or something like that. I think there was a quote or something that they were saying.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, like that, no, but that snap, like when Vhagar, like literally just like snapped at Arax, and it was like one bite, and the whole dragon and Luke was like gone. There was like
we didn't actually see Luke die. We just seen a bunch of wings and body parts fall apart. Come on, he might have jumped.
No, I think he's died. I mean, like,
he might have jumped.
Unless somebody else scooped him out of the fucking sky, but I think he was chomped in
the water.
Dragon,
the water. I don't know.
No, he's gone. Like he's totally.
Gone. There's no way.
Digested by Vhagar, or like in the middle of the ocean. Like he's gone.
I think there were still parts of both of them that fell out of his mouth there, though. I think it was the kid. And it was him and the fucking dragon that fell.
I'll have to watch back in slow motion.
Like, in slow mo it, because like that was wild.
Another thing,
CGI is
kind of unanswerable question though I had about this was, I'll say this next scene. I'll just say this next scene. We're done here. As Rhaenyra holds another council with her lords on Dragonstone, Daemon approaches and whispers in her ear the news of Lucerys's death. Rhaenyra briefly staggers from grief before turning to face her council with an expression of vengeful fury. And the shot just ends on her fucking reaction shot of like, you know what I mean? Of like it's fucking go time now. You know what I mean? Like she's like, that's it. Because she was still discussing whether or not they were actually going to go to war in this moment. So and she was trying to take her father's peaceful approach, I feel like, right? She was trying to be more diplomatic about it, but then once she got this news, it's game over as far as I'm concerned now, and I guess we'll see what happens with the new season. How did word get to them is my question.
Yeah, I was thinking this. I was just going to say
that's
that.
My unanswerable question. That was my unanswerable question I was leading up to. How did they get word back? Because
was he around? I'm wondering if fucking Daemon was following. I don't know. No. We don't know.
No.
To be honest, like this is why I think I saw, maybe it was in like a season 2 teaser, or it was something, because there's something that's telling me like this is talked about, and like how they find out, and Daemon talking to Rhaenyra about this. Like I feel like I've heard these words come out of somebody's mouth, like in a scene.
Well, I mean, it's very possible that they do explain it further at the start of season 2. Because you know how sometimes shows will jump ahead and they'll show you like her getting the shocking news, but then when they come back, they'll be like, they'll actually show it properly, like the whole scene, how it actually played out. Like sometimes they kind of will give you a teaser like that, but they won't show you like how he broke the news. They'll just show him like whispering something, and then like, you know what I mean, like they'll revisit it and like show it from a different kind of perspective, right? So I don't know, maybe that's what they're doing.
I think it'll be like certain seasons do that. They do that as the second season when it comes out. Like if they don't know they're having a second season,
they'll rehash the moment.
Yeah, they'll say like
run it
recap,
back.
you know, yeah, and they'll start off kind of with that scene.
Yeah.
Right? So
maybe that's what you saw, Christina. Maybe there was.
Maybe, I don't know. I just feel like I've heard, like I've seen Damon say, like, talk about this with Rhaenyra. I don't know, like where I saw this, or maybe it was just in my head. I don't know. See, guys, I'm a freak. Like,
no, that's what I was gonna say. A super fan, you would probably
awesome.
I'm dreaming of these scenes, guys. It's sick.
You should be part of. You should be helping out the show.
I just think it was a great. It was a great final shot. It was a great final shot, and I also think I think it was still very effective how he just whispered it, and like that was her reaction, right? Like I'm sure if they go into because
that's your favorite music, I think, was playing. Yeah, it was silent. It was quiet. Like it was just the music going. There was no words. Yeah, and it's like, oh, we've seen the look of like the Mad Queen before, you know, or like the vengeful, furious queen before. So,
yeah, it was pretty. So that's it for this episode. That's it for the finale. I liked it a lot. I think we all did here, and I think the season overall was pretty strong. Actually, revisiting it, I think overall I thought it was very good. I'm very much looking forward to season 2, as I know everybody else is here, though. But let's leave off with any predictions before we get into the first episode in a couple of weeks from the time of this recording when it actually airs. Any predictions in where it's gonna go moving forward? Jay, stop ducking and hiding there. What's your prediction, bro?
Yeah, I think they're gonna rehash this.
Yeah,
sorry, rehash this and talk about what happened here, but you're also going to see some vengefulness coming. I don't know about the first episode, but something's going to happen in quick, I think, just to get us all back hooked again, I feel.
Have you guys seen the trailers?
I mean, the trailers could be for the whole season.
I watched I think there's more than one out now, right? I think I just watched the very first one that barely shows anything. I haven't watched any more than that because I'm trying to wait because like it's one of those things where sometimes I know I'm gonna see it anyways. I just stay away from trailers, but yeah, you can't help yourself. You watched the trailer. Yeah, I didn't watch
it 4 times today.
So you tell us given that information, what are you thinking is gonna occur here?
To be honest, okay, I'm gonna say something that's probably really like upsetting, but I really think it's gonna be a really slow season. I don't think we're gonna see as much.
Well,
drama.
They have 3 years to plan it. They have 3
Yeah, I don't think I don't think we're gonna see as much like action as we think we are. I think it's gonna be a lot of like, scheming and whatever. Aegon, they show Aegon. He's just ruthless. He's kind of like an heiress, like Mad King. Like he's just very like just full of power and. He doesn't care who he hurts in the end. Yeah. And obviously Rhaenyra is pissed. Like you've killed essentially 2 of my children now.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense that they're not going to take everybody out. There's only 2 people fighting this war now, these families that are beefing each other, and you know what I mean, in this story. So, of course, I think they're going to build this shit up for sure, right? So it's more family drama between the 2 of them, which is, that's great too. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It probably
is going to be slow.
Yeah,
and we also don't know how much they've actually recorded, like how many if they're even done 2 seasons by now recording. So I mean, they do take little pieces from parts to make the trailers look interesting, right? So they film not necessarily all in order for the episodes, right? They put it all together on that cutting room floor, I guess.
Right. Sometimes they even shoot shit for the trailers now, for at least for movies that aren't actually in the movies, because they that's what people complain about when you see trailers these days, where they're like, oh, I've already seen half the movie, because they put all like the good scenes sometimes in the trailer. And that's why sometimes I'm like weary of checking that shit out, because I'm just like, yeah, if you watch like half the good scenes in a trailer to get you to want to go watch it, and then you watch it and you're like, oh, I feel like I've seen half this shit already. It's like, you know what I mean? So I'm willing to wait, but I think you're right. I think it is going to be probably slow, right? I mean, it's only 8 episodes, so I'm sure we're going to get some big moments. We have to, right? Or some like grotesque kind of shit, or I mean, I hope they keep that same tone as the first season, though. That's what I hope. It's my takeaway from this is I hope that they approach it the same way they did season 1. Like, they just don't give a fuck about, like, you know what I mean? Like, make it as hardcore as possible, honestly. Like, as far as I'm concerned.
I just did like a quick search, like just to see like what they've done and how many and whatever. So just like earlier this month in May, George R.R. Martin said that basically he thinks it would take 4 10-episode seasons to get through House of the Dragon, like to complete that story. So they if they have 3 confirmed, they might have 4 or whatever. Yeah. But that they do have another spin-off
confirmed.
It's called no, I don't know if it's confirmed, but they're
what is it got to do with Sam?
Is it the Hedge Knight one? It's the Hedge Knight one, right?
It's called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which takes place after the events of House of Dragon and 90 years before Game of Thrones.
Oh, really?
So no,
yeah, the first season will adapt the first novella, The Hedge Knight, and consist of 6 episodes.
Yeah,
and that literally just that news came out on May 16.
Okay, so I know that there was rumblings about the Hedge Knight one going to happen, or what was the other name they called it? Egg and whatever. What is it? Egg and that other guy?
Aegon?
No, well, they called it Egg and something else or whatever. That Hedge Knight one, I forgot what they called.
Oh, I don't know.
But yeah, no, okay. So 90 years. You know what's interesting about that? That's like shit, and people referenced in Game of Thrones will actually be in that show, like because it's
like one generation prior to what happened in Game of Thrones. Like it's not even like it's like
if they continue on during that 90 years, let's say it starts off 90 years before, maybe they do a time jump even halfway through the season. It's like now it's 60 years. Now we're seeing possibly young versions, of some of the people that we saw.
Like Ned's dad,
not Ned, but Ned's Ned's dad. Yeah, any like
the birth of Ned or something. Who knows?
Yeah, or like the old ass fucking guy who's like in the that's that's in the Night's Watch.
Aemond Targaryen.
Yeah, exactly. So like you can start seeing, you might see him. That'd be cool. That's what I mean. Because some of those guys,
we're gonna see the rise of like Aerys Targaryen, possibly.
Yeah,
and the crazy fucking.
Yeah, that's a good king. Yeah, that's a good time period. Actually, I'm very interested in that one. Yeah, that sounds.
That's
really
like the fall of them, mate.
Because that's like a very early. That's a much more doable prelude to Game of Thrones, that series. Because this one's so in the fucking past,
far. Yeah,
it's hard to even determine the events from now till then, right? So that's kind of interesting. So that's going to be a thing. Awesome. So there you go. Well, make sure to tune in for that show whenever that fucking happens, guys. I'm sure we're covering. We're still doing this at that point. But that being said, thank you once again. Make sure you like and subscribe. And a few days from the time this airs, and we hope you're all caught up, because we will be, and we are looking forward to season 2. Make sure to tune in for those live episodes. And I just want to thank both of you guys once again. I want to thank my co-host JT and Christina, honestly, for joining us for this long stretch here towards the end of these last couple of seasons of doing the show with us. It's been a really great, fun time for us. Me and Jay, I can speak for both of us. So yeah,
awesome. I know.
Cheers to you, man. Master Stats. Oh my god.
Hey, but you know,
Master
honestly,
States.
It's so true, man. Without any of you guys, it wouldn't be fun, man. Like this has been a different experience, so it's kind of cool, man. And now doing this the whole way we're gonna start it off, so this should be interesting, you know.
I'm very excited to see how.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, the evolution of this next chapter.
Bullshit, like I always say, guys.
I gotta say, now I gotta go. I I got all these ideas. I'm gonna have to go away from this show now, and I'm thinking up like a table idea for.
Okay.
I got a small council idea going. I'm telling you, we're gonna come here. We're gonna have some representation. There's something, a hat, something where we gotta check into the small council.
Well, it'll be summertime. We can do it outside, bro. We'll have a little fire.
Yeah, we can.
Table.
You do it on the balcony.
Need somebody to cut it for wood. Yeah, we need somebody to figure that wood out.
Do it at the fire pit.
Woodworker. Yeah, we'll figure it out, but we gotta figure something out.
Yeah. So there you go. Stay tuned, guys. So that's gonna be. Watching the Throne will be a continuation of House of the Dragon Season 2 when it airs. We'll be doing live episodes weekly, a couple days after the episodes air. So make sure to tune in for that. And yeah, thanks again.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Very
all right.
Cool.
For one final time, we did it. We did all these episodes. Here we go. Ready for the music? All right. Later, everyone.
Oh, peace out. Thanks.
Oh, it's not working.
There you go, Noah.
There we go.